Chelsea's last saving grace for relative success has dwindled into the abyss, kind of like a Terry Bridge friendship. Chelsea suffer at the hands of Paris Saint-Germain and that man Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who has now scored twice against the London team in both ties, looking at both of them. So a couple of talking points. I felt the tie dwindled out as soon as Diego Costa went off. This is a Diego Costa who I think was hungrier now that Guus Hiddink's taken over, and he looked to do everything he possibly could to get Chelsea back into this tie. When he was on the park, he looked threatening. He caused a problem for Thiago Silva and David Luiz up top for the majority of the game until he had to be substituted. And who could they bring on? Traore. Now, I'm not disregarding Traore, but this is a difference. This is a team that is lacking in depth, and Chelsea's problems have to be strengthened in the summer by bringing in someone who can try and partner, if not be a backup to Diego Costa. I don't think Loic Remy was ever really up to the standard. I felt he was a good utility player, but when you look at someone like PSG, who can bring on Cavani off the bench, and when they lose out a Verratti in the middle of the park for this tie, they're able to adjust and have Rabiot, Matuidi, and Thiago Motta play very well and efficiently well in the middle of the park. So that shows a great team to have that depth. So the game started off with a problem for Chelsea. When you bring in someone like Rabiot, or Rabiot, however you want to say it, into this team, it changes the dynamic of their midfield. So tactically, the triangular formation that PSG like to run with Motta, Verratti and Matuidi usually has a somewhat of an interchanging movement between Matuidi and Verratti, who will try to join the attack whenever they can. Now, Verratti hasn't scored an abundance of goals for PSG. He's more of a threat for me in finding those passes and closing down space, and he's a hunter when he doesn't have the ball. So without him, Rabiot came in, and what he can provide is that trailing run into the box. I don't think Chelsea adjusted well to. I think they have to call out the holding midfielders. I think they have to call out communication between Ivanovic and the holding midfielder to track that run into the box. It is a midfielder's run, but more often than not, defenders should track that run if it comes into their territory. I think that dynamic between Ivanovic, Azpilicueta and Cahill was never really as shored up as it should have been. So Rabiot wandered into the box. It was a great piece of movement from Di Maria and allowed for Zlatan Ibrahimovic to take that run dynamically across the box and cut it back. Credit to Zlatan. I feel like he's on his own personal mission to shut up everything I've said about him being too old for it. Let me clear the air. I never said he was too old. I just never put him in the same category as Luis Suarez. Come on. I think Suarez is on his own category. But nonetheless, Zlatan definitely had a performance to remember today. He is adamant that he wants to, if it is to be his part in season, leave with success. I'll get to that point at the end. So, PSG take the lead. Rabiot's finish as the ball was cut back. Then Chelsea got back into the game. Diego Costa finding movement in and around the box, able to slot home a well-finished move. And I think that from that point, Chelsea grew in life up until Diego Costa had to go off injured. It seems like he's got a knee problem. I think Chelsea fans will be having their head in their hands, because if they want to go on to success now by achieving Europa League or potentially winning the FA Cup, which seems to be their last saving grace at this point, they would need Diego Costa. It seems like he has encompassed their revolution since Guus Hiddink came in. He stopped the bullshit. He stopped the little kicks off the ball, whatever. He's still hard to play against, but he's really focused on helping this team. And now with him gone, they're going to have to do something to fill that void. And it's dark times for Chelsea at this point moving forward without their star striker, who's really come back into fine form, I think, before that injury. But PSG would capitalise. And one man I'm going to highlight, I can't believe I'm saying this, back playing against an English team, and he looked phenomenal. Di Maria, not just going forward. Defensively, I seen the lanky Di Maria rushing back, pushing people off the ball, winning tackles. It was crazy to me that this is the same player that once graced Old Trafford's grounds and almost looked like he could just be flicked off the field. He was that thin and that fragile. But nonetheless, he's so talented when he makes those runs. He's so talented with his final product. Yes, his final product was good for Zlatan's goal, which put the game out of sight. But Azpilicueta, man, this is the same guy that I said was one of the best one-on-one defenders last season. Falling asleep. He's taken Vicodin at one point, and he's just wandering around looking, oh, that's Di Maria that just moved into an area of space, checked, played a 1-2, and then he spun behind me. And Azpilicueta, mate, at this level, you cannot allow that to happen. If I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm so angry at that, because that took the game far out of sight. Chelsea had to score three goals, to win the game, because if you take it to 3-2, they lose an away goal. So 4-2 to win the game. Whereas if the score's still 1-1, they still have a fighting chance to take it into extra time and potentially go on to try and salvage something. But at that moment, That cost him the game. Zlatan bends his running behind. Di Maria, perfectly weighted pass on a plate. There's your French croissant. Put it into the back of the net, and Zlatan moves away. You can tell how much it means to him. He's celebrated. So, what does this mean for PSG? Is this going to be Zlatan's last season? Do I think PSG could go all the way? Watching some post-match analysis, I like to try and compare my thoughts to those that are professionals. They say that this PSG team are one to be watched, and I do agree. I think they are so ferocious going forward. Lucas and Di Maria are a handful on the side. I like that. I think the Blancs went with a sole formation to try and utilise the strengths of Ibra without crowding out his space by having Cavani in there all the time to partner him. I like that formation they have of playing the wide men with those three central midfielders, with Verratti coming back and that rotation. They have great depth. They're going to be a strong team to beat. If they come up against a Bayern Munich or a Barcelona or a Real Madrid in the next leg, I don't think they go through. If they come up against I don't know, if they get a kind draw, they could be a dark horse to run towards the latter stages of the tournament. I wouldn't bet against them. I think that they are a structured team, good management, and some really experienced players in there with talented youth. I think that they're going to be a team to watch out for. Still won't put it on them to get past the semis. That's as far as I think they'll go. Nonetheless, I would like to see it happen. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. Chelsea fans, what did you think about this? Was the changing point when Diego Costa went off? Do you think you could have won the game with him being on there? PSG fans, what are your thoughts on this? Job well done for you. Enjoy the next round. I'm going to go clear this French frog I think I have in my throat. Don't know what's going on. Come back again, hit the subscribe button. Goes a long way on YouTube. Twitter, @TYT Sports, @me, @Francis_Maxwell, @. See you soon.